Hello everyone, Namaste. Welcome to our Career Podcast. Today with us we have a very senior leader, Mr. Jeff Yin, who worked at Microsoft for 28 years. A very warm welcome to you, Jeff, for joining us on this podcast.
20 years for me in Microsoft, I would say almost feel like an accident.
So, can you just briefly tell about your career journey? Like, how did you start? Where did you start? And how did you grow to where you were at Microsoft?
There's actually a couple times I almost left Microsoft.
30 years ago, what were the interview rounds at Microsoft? Has it changed any from them to now, and how it has evolved?
But Microsoft is the one that actually asks coding questions. And I had no idea what to prepare because there's no LeetCode at the time.
I did go for interviews at India for campuses, and it's generally 3 rounds of coding. And the last round is mixed with coding and AI, where we ask about projects and if there were any red flags about the attitude and communication and all that AI verify. And people were surprised when I told them that the core gist of the interview hasn't changed much.
So we care a lot about, hey, can you reduce the footprint of the memory?
Okay.
Or can you run, 10 times faster? Those are pretty common questions.
Common questions in the interview.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, Namaste. Welcome to our Career Podcast. Today with us we have a very senior leader, Mr. Jeff Yin, who worked at Microsoft for 28 years. He started his journey with career probably before many of us were born, and he served for a very long time, 28 years at Microsoft. And he's right now in USA. He's working as a director in another company. And in Microsoft, he was working as a partner director of engineering in Teams team. And this is where Jeff was my manager and a skip level manager and also my mentor. I have learned a lot from Jeff. I'm super excited to have Jeff on our YouTube channel and on our podcast to share some of his learnings and listen from him, learn from him. So let's get started. Welcome, a very warm welcome to you, Jeff, for joining us on this podcast. I'm really looking forward for the conversation.
Thank you, Mahesh, for your introduction. It's an honor to be here, to be in your studio, to be in your podcast. I really enjoyed working with you in the past in Microsoft. So happy to see you again this time.
So, Jeff, 20 years is a very long time. And I know that, Microsoft is a great place to work. And I'm not surprised, but many in the audience would be surprised.
Yeah,
that
I'm surprised too.
that somebody had such a long career and you would have seen that company. So can you just briefly tell about your career journey? Like, how did you start, where did you start, and how did you grow to where you were at Microsoft?
Sure. Yeah, so 20 years for me in Microsoft, I would say almost feel like an accident. The reason I'm saying this is because there's actually a couple of times I almost left Microsoft. But the lucky thing is I end up finding another exciting opportunity inside Microsoft. That's why I stayed for that many years. As I was telling many other people that I loved learning new things. And starting from the year I joined Microsoft, I'm always trying to learn something new, whether it's from working on operating system, whether it's working on Office apps, whether it's working on being the search engine, whether it's working on the backend Azure services, or finally, I worked on Teams. At every step, I feel like I'm challenging myself. I'm trying to step out of my comfort zone and learn new things that keep me going for that many years.
Amazing. And did you study in US as well?
Oh, yes, I did. I was originally from China, and I went to US for my college study. And after that, I found a computer job and end up staying in US for many years. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And how was your like say first experience? I know it's been a very long
Mm.
time, but how difficult or how hard it was to get into Microsoft at that time as well? And what were, like say 30 years ago, what were the interview rounds at Microsoft? Has it changed any from them to now, and how it has evolved?
Yeah, something changed, something didn't change because at that time I was working for another company before I went to Microsoft, and then one of my friends told me, "Hey Jeff, you seems to be pretty good at the computer stuff. Why don't you try Microsoft?" Because in 1995, Microsoft started to become the dominant company for the software industry, and through that friend, I was referred to Microsoft and got an interview opportunity. And Microsoft was, one of the company at that time to actually ask coding questions. So it was
Okay.
once a lifetime experience because other companies they don't ask coding questions
Okay.
at that time, 1995. But
1995.
Microsoft is the one that actually asked coding questions, and I had no idea what to prepare
Mhm.
because there's no LeetCode at that time. So I was just like, trying my best and study my algorithm, books and all those things. And yeah, I just went there and I got 4 interviewers, and I guess I got lucky, and so I did well through the coding questions, and I end up in Microsoft.
And
Yeah.
Jeff, all 4 were coding rounds, coding and technical rounds.
I think at least 3 of them
3 of them.
were the technical rounds, and
Mm.
the final round, because there's one coding question I didn't do very well for the first interview. I remember the AA, which is the last round,
Mhm.
actually asked me the same question again.
Again.
Then I know, okay, thank you for giving me the second chance.
Chance.
Yeah.
And you
So
are so accurate in saying that
yeah.
these things haven't changed even after 50 years.
That's right. That's right. So, so the core of that interview process seems to stay, but of course, then many other things changed in terms of how the interview question evolved from simple algorithms you can actually find from the algorithm book to more real life problems that you have to solve, and also there's more soft skill questions that's being added to the interview.
Right,
Yeah.
right. You're absolutely right in saying that it has remained same. And I did go for interviews at India for campuses, and it's generally 3 rounds of coding. And the last round is mixed with coding and AI, where we ask about projects and if there were any red flags about the attitude and communication and all, that AI verify. And people were surprised when I told them that the core gist of the interview hasn't changed much. At that time also we asked coding, and then we followed up with how long how good is the code, can this be optimized any further, whether those were asked, Jeff, at that time also, to optimize the code to make it run faster and all.
Yes. At that time that computers are not that powerful, and also memories are limited. So we care a lot about hey, can you reduce the footprint of the memory?
Okay.
Can you run 10 times faster? Those are pretty common questions.
Common questions in the interview.
Yeah.
And then now, even though the computers have become powerful, even though there is abundant memory, but I see that even those are still being asked. And somebody asked me this other day saying why it is still relevant, because we can spin off server in Azure in like few seconds, why it is still relevant. So I said, you don't want to pay a lot of money and burn a lot of money in the cloud.
That's absolutely true, because operating cost is very expensive, and especially for large scale services, if you can optimize to reduce 10% of the operating cost in terms of memory or computing need, then it's a big saving, millions of dollars. Savings. Yeah.
And in fact, Jeff, I remember we used to run these projects, specially called Cogs, where we get rewarded for reducing the Cogs.
Yeah, if we reduce the operating cost, we can convert that money into money. We can hire more people.
And that acted like a very good incentive at that time.
That's true.
I want to little bit zoom in, because many of our audience, Jeff, they are people from like academia, the leaders from academia, the students who are trying to graduate and learn, and there are many job seekers
Mm.
who would be watching this podcast.
Mm.
So can you, and you have worked from like say Windows 95 all the way up to Teams and Bing.
Mm.
So what are some of the things that you practiced? One, you said already, growth mindset and
Mm.
learning,
Mm.
continuous learning. So what are the other things that helped really in your career from very beginning as an individual contributor all the way up to growing as a partner director at Microsoft?
Mm. I think it's a strong work ethic is really important in the sense that I always trying to become a better version of myself, no matter which level I'm at, because I'm inspired by those great engineers around me. Working for big companies have that benefit because you always see someone who are smarter than you.
Correct.
Yeah, and then I aspire to become, them. And so I keep learning and learning from my mistakes, and also learning from those people who can do better and who can do things more efficiently and who has a desire to do an excellent job. So that drives me forward.
And how did you adapt it, Jeff? Like some Windows where you probably wrote code in C, C++.
Mm.
And how did you adapt to changing landscape of technology?
Yeah, I guess that's my self-interest in terms of learning new things, because I can easily get bored if I'm doing the same thing again and again. I feel like, okay, I know how to do this thing. Just give me some opportunity to learn new things.
Okay.
And I remember my first job is a Windows operating system.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to look at the C code, C++ code, or assembly code.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to do assembly, kernel-level debugging, right? Which is cool, right? But after a few years, I started to think, hey, can I learn something new, right? And then I moved on to the Office team and start to build a product. It's a web-based collaboration product, and that product eventually becomes SharePoint.
Oh, nice. So when it was under labs or R&D, you were part of that initial team.
It's a new team.
New team
and we started
altogether.
with like 4 engineers. I remember at that time, there's no standard XML parser. I have to write the XML parser.
Oh my God. Handcraft the XML
Yes,
parser.
Yeah.
Mm.
But learning new things is a motivation that I always feel excited about that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And till what age in your career, Jeff, you used to like hands-on write code? And I know from leaders from Microsoft, they were coding for very long.
Yeah.
Many of the leaders, they say, they coded for like 10 years, 15 years. So how has been your journey?
I'm still coding.
You're still coding.
It's just last week I'm still coding, but now I got lazy, so I asked AI to code for me. Yeah, but the reason I wanted to write code, although at some stage of the time, I have very limited time to write code because I have to spend more time to make sure the team is successful instead of me personally delivering more code.
Correct.
But the reason I want to always keep my hand in the code is that I want to keep me updated about latest technology. I also want to know what's happening under the hood. I also want to know the challenges my team members are dealing with. So that keep me grounded in the reality.
I think I can relate with it, Jeff, because so to our audience, Jeff has been in industry for more than 30 years, and till today, he can write code, he can understand code, and in fact, he's now feeling more empowered with Gen AI, and he's now still building software. So all of you who are thinking that, coding is just one-time thing or you just learn it initial part of your career, that's not true. You need to know it, and it can really help you in your career. The second point that Jeff is making is, if you are technically grounded, you are hands-on, then you're very close to the reality. And that was Jeff's leadership style. So when I used to work for him, he would know very smaller detail of our system, and he would make effort to sit and learn all of that. So it was very easy for us to converse with him, and very easy for us to convince him also when things cannot be done the way he wanted. So I think, Jeff, we really enjoyed that, and we love to explain the things that we are working and building to our leaders. And I recall those memories of walking you through our stack, walking
Mm.
through you our frameworks, walking you through our work, and you asking some very good questions and making us think more deeply about the problems.
Yeah, technical review meetings are always my favorite meetings because that help me to understand what's really happening
Mhm.
and what are the challenges teams are dealing with and what are the new technologies and new capabilities we're building. Those are always
Always
exciting meetings.
agree.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, moving on from technical to
Mm,
soft skills, right?
mm,
And soft skills and values.
mm,
I'm sure you held some values and some ethics and some values
mm,
close to your heart,
mm,
and also some mindset as well.
mm,
One is the learning mindset.
mm.
The other than that, the what values kept you grow in the industry and have a very great career in the industry.
Yeah, one thing I remember one of my mentors told me is always keep the the value of the team above your individual benefit and value,
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day we work for a team, we work for organization, we work for a company, and there's a goal and a vision and a task for the company, for the team, and we are a member of it. And although we have our own ambition and inspiration, but at the end of the day we have to align to the organizational goal, right? And most of the time that we can also contribute to that. But the most important thing is once I align to that, then I can have larger impact to the team and to the organization, not just my individual contribution to that one piece, because I fully understand what the team is trying to deliver and what the team try to achieve, and then I can align myself so my influence can be amplified because I can work with the team as a whole.
Amazing, Jeff.
Yeah.
Now the other part is, as an one is this whole computer science, the coding
Mm,
round and all. There is a lot of some students have this confusion on, especially the subjects like say operating system,
mm,
compilers, interpreters, then database systems, networking.
mm,
Some of these core, what we call as CS fundamentals,
mm,
in the Microsoft interview used to have a category called CS fundamentals.
mm,
Make a note about that as well.
mm,
So on that, what's your take? Like with Gen AI around,
mm.
so, how much of computer science fundamentals and coding as a skill would matter to in this era where Gen AI is able to churn out code very faster
Mm.
and probably better? So, how do you see this whole spectrum? How much they learn? How deep they should learn? And how will should even first question is should they even learn those things in this era of Gen AI?
Yeah, I'm still trying to get my head around Gen AI myself. I'm
Okay.
playing with it, and so I will share with you my personal learning through this journey. So recently, I'm using AI to write code and to create applications and services. What I noticed is lot of the coding basics can be handled by AI. For example, if I don't know a certain syntax for certain language, like JavaScript or whatever, what I used to do is I have to search online and you see, oh, what is the exact syntax of that? Now I don't need to worry about it. AI
Okay.
will take care of it.
Okay.
So, but what I need to worry about is whether the AI is doing that programming using the best practices that we
Okay.
learned over the time. Give you
Okay.
an example. We want to share code as much as possible instead of duplicate code.
Hmm.
Meaning that if you have the same capability in multiple different places, we don't want to write the same code multiple times. We
Mm-hmm.
only want to write the code once and use it everywhere. AI don't necessarily know that, at
Mm-hmm.
least yet, right? So, which means that we need to understand this best practice. And actually, we have to be able to read the code that AI created and figure out, oh, you're writing some duplicate stuff. So please correct it. So we have to basically behave as a seasoned engineer who understand the best practice and mentor AI to produce better software.
I think this is one of the best
Yeah,
description
yeah.
I heard, Jeff. And I think last time when we were discussing about it, you also said it's a combination of a tech lead, and
a
a
PM.
PM. So can you just elaborate on that a bit? Why do you feel so?
Yeah. So because recently I was building some software, so I started to use the AI to create that software. And so the first thing I started to tell the AI is what this product should look like. What is the user scenario? What is the user flow? And so on and so forth. And that process is essentially the job that product manager is doing. They're writing a spec essentially. And what I told AI, it's a simple form of a spec. Maybe I'm not to the level of details, but I start with certain level of details so AI can get started to write some code. Then I will iterate, and based on the code being produced, I can tell AI, oh, this part is not exactly right. What I mean is this, but not that. So that job was being done by product manager. And so I believe in the future, software engineer has to have similar ability to understand the customer need, to understand what the product is supposed to do, so that we can tell AI what code to write. So that's first part. The second part is similar to what I mentioned earlier, is we need to understand the best practice so that we can tell AI what to do. It's almost like a senior engineer is mentoring a junior engineer. The junior engineer can write a lot of code, but they might not write the code in the right way, in the right practice. So the senior engineer have to tell him, okay, your code works, but there's a better way to write this code. So that's why I feel that the software engineer in the future needs to have these two abilities. One is have better understanding about the product and what the product should do. And the second is what's the best practice, whether it's from the technical design perspective or whether it's from the coding perspective, so that we can tell AI and lead the AI through the software engineering journey.
Amazing, Jeff.
Yeah.
This was really helpful.
Yeah.
Now, for the senior engineer, they should need an ability to scan the code like at a great speed, like go through it at good speed and be able to understand and then tell what need to be done. And to develop that innate capability to read that code and understand, do you think it's essential for them to first write code by themselves, practice writing code by themselves?
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. I'm glad that you asked that, because like for me personally right now, I can read a lot of code very quickly, and I built that capability over many years, because even when I didn't have time to write code, I still spent time to review code.
Yeah.
So I did read lots of code. And so even if I don't completely understand every single line of code, but I understand the code structure, I understand the core capabilities and data flows and all those things. And with that capability, now when I read AI's code, essentially I'm doing a code review for AI. Yeah, I can point out the structural problems. I can point out data issues. Those code review capabilities is actually quite important. So from an engineer who doesn't have a lot of industrial experience yet, I would suggest that you go to GitHub. There are a lot of open source code, a lot of code that you can read. So go read the code. Yeah, even if you don't write those code, at least you can read the code and try to understand and why the code was written that way, right? Yeah. Because the more you read, then the more you can understand, oh, better code looks like this instead of that. And then you can also, tell AI to write the better version of the code.
I think you're making a very beautiful point and a very important point, Jeff, that these engineers who are going to enter industry now or who are already there, they need to become good at reading and understanding the code. And one of the good suggestion you gave them is going to the best repos on GitHub and trying to understand how others have written. And probably they also practice writing a little bit of code would help them remember those. Because since you reviewed, and to our audience, I have met so many leaders at Microsoft from very first level of leadership we call as M1 all the way up to partner directors and CVPs. Every one of them can read code, can review code, find faults with our code, and also suggest how to make it better. And there were many code reviews where Jeff was part of it, and we would show our code to him, and he would ask very good questions. Why can't you do it this way? And this I see with many leaders. I have seen at many leaders at Microsoft. But like Jeff pointed out, that capability came in them because they have written a lot of code in their early, I mean, in their career. Then they have read a lot of code being leaders at Microsoft. So because of that, now when AI gives the code, they are able to read and suggest what need to be done. So for anybody who is freshly graduating, will have a tough time because they need to master that skill
Mm.
and ability to, and then probably they have to also learn these design principles,
Mhm.
right? And then learn system design very early on. At least for us, we had some time. Like initially I would just do bug fixing, then features, then probably own a component, and then eventually get into system design and all. But now I think those expectations will get front loaded.
Yeah, yeah. So that's tough. That's tough. I don't know how the new graduate is going to handle this new situation yet. But I certainly hope in the future that the university, can provide more practical training. And I also really like what the Mahesh is doing in terms of providing this practical learning for the engineering students or early career professionals, because there's something that the current university is not teaching, but those practical capabilities and best practice and skills are really critical, even for the future. The AI is coming, and we still have to know that, because otherwise you can be cheated by AI. And as a matter of fact, AI can hallucinate. So you cannot completely trust the code that AI is written. Yeah.
Yes, Jeff, I'm trying my best to bring that
Mm,
understanding to both the students and also to the universities
mm,
on, and trying to help in this transition.
mm,
Now, there is a one question that everybody asks me, which
mm.
is, with this much of Gen AI, will the IT or the software industry will shrink and it will become small, and will, millions of people lose job, or the IT industry will expand into much bigger areas and where probably we didn't go so far?
Yeah, I don't have the answer. Yeah, I don't know. Both scenarios can be possible, and because I see that the big tech companies are reducing their workforce,
Mhm.
right? Which is unfortunate, but it's happening right now. Whether it's because AI is actually replacing some of the engineer work, I'm not certain yet, because as of now, AI can help with programming, coding, engineering, all that. But I'm not certain AI can replace the engineer yet. But whether in the future AI can replace it or not, we have to wait and see.
Right answer.
But on the other aspect, that I think that every industrial revolution will produce new jobs. So I can imagine that the software engineer's job will be very different from today's software
Today's
engineer job.
software.
As I was saying, hey, today's software engineer, you probably need to care more about how to write the code. But tomorrow, you probably don't need to care about that anymore. You need to care about your understanding at the product level, and you also understanding at the design strategy, architecture, and the best practice, right?
Mhm.
Those are different capabilities we need to build. So I believe that that kind of opportunity will produce more jobs. It's just a different kind of job.
Different kind of jobs.
Yeah. So whether that will provide more jobs in the market or less, I have no idea.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Yeah, very difficult to
Mm,
predict, Jeff, because every month there is new announcement.
mm,
Every quarter there is a new tool,
mm.
and it's growing at an phase that is really unimaginable. And not, I don't think we saw anything like this in
Yeah.
our careers.
Yeah. But I
And
would encourage the audience here, don't be afraid. Don't worry, because this is a difficult time for sure. A lot of the new graduate cannot find jobs, but this is also a time for opportunity, great opportunities. if we keep learning and adapting, and then our job can be a lot more exciting because we're dealing with something brand new and we've never seen before. So I hope that you can, keep your spirit high and strive for learning new things. And I believe you can be more successful than before.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Super. Because I could see that, many of them are very nervous because they, they completed graduation with the educational loan and they are going through really tough time. So the next part is one of the thing that a lot of people ask me because at my product companies like say Google, Microsoft, Meta, the DSA, which is data structures and algorithms, is very important part of interview process. And it is not so important in some of the other industries like say IT services. There are no DSA rounds in many of those interviews. And DSA is something very specific to all the big tech. And there are engineers who are extremely good in, let's say, building an Android app or a website, but they struggle with DSA. So they all ask me, why DSA? And was DSA there when you interviewed at
yes,
Microsoft?
Absolutely.
And also, did you ask DSA? And do you know like why DSA is important for software interviews?
Yeah, I think I mentioned earlier, even with a lot of tools available to help us to write code, or now AI, which can write code, I believe we still need to understand what the efficient data structure or algorithm look like. Because imagine you need to sort something and AI can give you a sort function or code. But can you tell how efficient that piece of code is? Right? What's the big old runtime of that thing? As we use that specific term, right?
Yeah.
If we don't understand, then we'll say, okay, it works. Or just deploy. But what if it consumes way more computing power than it needs? How does that impact your bottom line? If you only run one server, it probably doesn't matter. But if it's a big product, you have to deploy to thousands of servers, then it becomes a huge problem, right? If you can make that sorting algorithm 10 times faster or 100 times faster, that means the thousands of servers running, the computing power you're saving is tremendous.
Tremendous, yeah.
So I believe we still need to understand that until the time the AI can automatically give you the most efficient algorithm. And even that, you still need to know, yes, this is the right algorithm.
And I could see that, Jeff, because whenever it generally doesn't give optimized, then you have to ask it to saying, hey, can you give optimized? And then you have to see if that is optimized, right? And then also regarding data structure, I have seen that it may not choose the right data structure.
Yeah.
And unless we understand that, I don't think we'll review and ever be able to tell it to improve it.
Yeah, and I also think that the large language model for the coding AI is learning from different code bases, right? And I'm not sure whether all the code base that's feeding to that learning process is the most efficient code base.
Okay. Because
so because of that,
I'm
not sure whether AI will learn the most efficient algorithm.
It will learn to code, but it need not be efficient.
Yeah, always. I'm just not sure yet.
Not sure.
Maybe AI can figure it out. Right?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And so you are seeing that the like interview rounds where they ask DSA probably will be relevant for even years to come.
Yeah, I heard that Meta now for their interview, you can use AI.
Wow. You can use AI in the interview round
and
still deliver what they're asking for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it makes sense because they become a tool that you can use.
Okay.
Right? How you use the tool actually will show the interviewer whether you are resourceful with the latest tools to make your job as efficient as possible, right?
This is interesting. I wasn't aware of this. I think the way we interview, probably some of those rounds would change now.
Yes.
With this one.
Yeah.
So now I would like to get into career part of it, Jeff, because you had such a long career and very satisfying and a gratifying career. So I would like to know more about now as you grew from, like, say, you were individual contributor and
Mm.
then you became a manager or the leader.
Mm.
So how was that transition from being an IC to being leader? What skills and what abilities you had to build, and how was that transition handled?
Transitions being handled through a very painful process. Yeah. Well, Microsoft has a pretty good training courses and the mentors. But on the same time, for a lot of the transitions, I'm being basically thrown into the pool, either swim or sink. So I have to learn, from the job, and so that's unavoidable, and which is okay. And so when I went through that transition from individual to a manager to a lead, I have to learn how to help my team successful instead of make myself personally successful. That's the biggest transition. Because before that, I was an individual contributor. I might be the best engineer on the team. And but when I become a lead, then my primary responsibility changed. It's not measured by how much code I produce anymore. It's measured by how successful my team is. And I didn't have that realization until sometime later.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying that's a painful learning process. And but it's also exciting in the sense that I was telling you I love learning. And I guess one thing that I think I'm good at is I'm not afraid of failure.
Okay.
So I can have a lot of missteps and make a lot of mistakes, but it's okay. It's okay. And we can always get up. I think the most important thing is every time we fall, we get up, and don't be ashamed of ourselves. Consider the mistake is the best learning process I had. I remember Michael Jordan said, I'm successful because I failed 999 times.
Wow. Very nice.
Yeah.
And I can relate to it, Jeff, because when we did 2 releases per month, you provided the psychological safety. And he said, no, we'll try. We'll try and we'll see where it goes. And if it fails, we'll learn from it and improve it. And that psychological safety, I could see clearly with people. I could experience that psychological safety in your leadership within the team. And you make sure that you were taking some bold decisions and allowing team to explore and try those things. And as an IC, when you made the switch, would you still tend to go and try to write code yourself, or
well, initially,
tend to?
yes. Yes.
Okay.
I will feel the the desire to go in there, just write the code myself.
Okay.
Like sometimes I think, why do I waste my time talking to this person? The amount of time I talk to him, I can write the code already.
Yes.
But the long-term benefit of helping a person grow is much bigger than do his job for him. That's why we say, we don't just give person a fish, but we teach him how to fish, right? So that he can become a more competent and capable team member, and then the capability of the whole team is raised up. Yeah. So support the team member, help them, and make them more successful. Then I can be more successful.
Very well said. I think a lot of the people who are in your early career want to become the first manager, or M1, what we call as. This is first hurdle that we all have to cross. And there is a temptation to go and do it yourself. And the people, Jeff, I mentored, they all said, I'm not able to come over that temptation. And they haven't been promoted yet as a manager. They're just senior engineer. And the other thing that I saw in you, Jeff, was you always led us by asking questions. You would never tell us that, oh, Mahesh, you just do it this way, and you finish it off. You would always ask us to present, and then you will land the question, and that will lead us to the better outcomes. So just shed some light on that.
Yeah, I think that's also something I learned over the time. Initially, I would just tell people to do exactly the right way I think that things should be done. But eventually I learned is maybe there's a better idea.
Mm-hmm.
Even if my idea is the best idea, then it's better for my team member to come up with that idea instead of me teaching them what to do in the exact details. Because that way, they went through this learning process and thinking process. Not only they come up with the right solution, they also build their capability to think through things. So their problem solving skills also got improved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think asking people question is always a better way. But the trick is it will take longer time,
Yeah,
for sure. For
it takes
sure.
longer time.
So we have to have the patience
Okay.
to work with people and give them the time and space
Mm-hmm.
to think it through and nudge them towards the right direction. Yeah, and then I think the result, could be more wonderful than what you expected.
Yeah, and we all used to feel that, this is like our idea.
Mm,
I mean, you would review and give us
mm,
some advice,
mm,
but always we would emotionally feel
mm,
connected with, oh,
mm.
this was our idea, this
Yeah,
was our plan,
yeah.
right? And there was some emotional connection with,
Mm.
that feeling of we are creating that solution.
Yes.
Used to be there. That emotional happiness or emotional connect used to be there.
Yeah, that's very important because if the team come up with the idea and they are more motivated and committed to
To
deliver that,
deliver.
yeah. So that's the benefit of giving the team the flexibility to explore, to try, to think it through, and to come up with ideas.
I'll get into the second part
Mm,
of leadership, Jeff, which is ability to handle conflicts,
mm,
ability to handle emotions,
mm,
ability to handle people, career aspirations, and
mm,
their setbacks and failures.
mm,
So, all of this, and I know you have mentored me a lot on this areas as well. So, can you shed some light on this? Like being a leader,
mm.
how to practice those things, and what values drove, I mean, what values and practices that you applied?
Yeah, we have conflicts. We deal with conflicts every day.
Okay.
And that's unavoidable because each of us are an individual with independent thinking. So for every single problem, we'll have more than a dozen solutions or thoughts about how to approach it and how to solve it. But then, as a leader, and our responsibility is help the team to come up with the better solution, a solution that's better than each of the individual ideas.
Okay.
And I feel that at the end of the day is how to make sure people can understand each other's ideas first, where they're coming from, why they think certain aspect is more important than others, because everybody will have their own background and experience, and due to that, they can look at a problem from different perspectives, and we can consider the different perspectives as conflicts, but we can also look at those perspectives as complementary.
Okay.
And so when we look at those conflicts from that angle, then we can have a more consensus building process. And one thing I always feel it's important is stay humble. Stay
Okay.
humble. No matter how good I think my idea is, keep an open mind.
Okay.
Assume someone else will have a better idea.
So that benefit of doubt we have to
Yes,
give.
yes. Just give the other person a chance to speak why they will think that way. Why will they will think that solution has advantage and the benefit. Let them speak and then listen carefully. Try to understand. If we don't even understand, then we should not go to the next step to argue.
Okay.
Yeah, that's I personally love to listen more. Um, I think if Mahesh remember, I'm not a very vocal person. I don't speak a lot. I love to listen. Mahesh mentioned earlier, I ask questions.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I love to listen,
Okay.
and because personally, I believe if I didn't listen, I didn't even understand what the other party trying to say. Then I have no right to say my idea is better idea. Once I fully understand, then I can say, okay, now I understand. Okay, I know where you're coming from. I know your priority. I know your desire. Now we can talk about how we can incorporate your ideas into a better idea so we can work together. Sometimes I feel just acknowledging the other person's idea will solve the problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Knowing, telling them that that is a good solution. And I think we go through this day
Yeah.
in, day out, Jeff. And what I have seen is they're very, I mean, Microsoft, I have seen people like you who are very good with listening and asking questions. But generally, I don't see that quality of people in, say, other parts of like society or life,
Mm.
because there I see the tendency to talk, or
Mm.
tendency to say that point,
Mm.
and tendency to judge the point with the intention of, okay, what is the politics behind it, or what is
Mm.
the motivation behind it always. But in a corporate setup, like say in company like Microsoft, I think we I have seen great conversations like this, and where we try to find the best solution
Yeah, I actually applied the same approach at home
at home as well.
with
So
my
you listen
wife.
with your
I'm actually quite serious.
uh,
It's not a joke because I'm trying to be more empathetic,
hmm,
emphasize with my wife's feeling, her thoughts, right? Instead of arguing, I try to understand. I try to listen first, and that helped with my family relationship.
perfect.
Yeah,
You're very, very well said.
yeah,
And I think I used to earlier
mm,
think that, all of our best skills and abilities
mm,
is needed in the corporate world.
mm,
In the home, I can be just the way I am and
mm,
little bit, take it little easy.
yeah,
But then I slowly started to realize that if I can bring my best version in
mm,
Microsoft,
mm,
then in my home, it should be even better than that. Like I should be the best version of myself in the home, probably the way I am
yes,
at
yeah,
Microsoft.
yeah,
So this shift also, I recently read somewhere in a book that why do we do this other way around?
mm,
Like we are very best at in the workplace, and then at home we are at like not so at our best.
yeah, yeah. I think that's very true. To deal with the person closest to us,
Hmm.
we have to actually use our best capability to listen,
Listen.
to emphasize, and that way we can form a better relationship. I remember that a mistake I made in the past, or many other people I also noticed same, is we always think that if my intention is good, then you have to understand. That's actually not good enough.
Okay.
We cannot say, oh, I meant good. That's
Mm-hmm.
not good enough.
Okay.
Even if your intention is good, you still have to work hard to own your delivery mechanism
Mm-hmm.
in terms how you communicate, how you showed up, how you tell the other party your feeling, and did you show your respect to the other person, right? Because sometimes we say, I intend to do good for you, but you didn't listen, or you got offended. It seemed to be the other person's problem, but it's my problem.
My problem.
Yeah,
Very well said.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I use that good intention, as excuse for me to not communicate in the proper way, in a respectful way,
Respectfully.
right? Because we always have to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't mean uh, irrespectful, right? We have to be always respectful. Yeah.
Very well said,
Yeah.
Jeff. The next part is about consensus building.
Mm.
Because be it at home, I mean,
Mm.
be it at home, little probably less, but at workplace, as you grow in the corporate ladder,
Mm.
you have to build consensus with your peers,
Mm.
consensus with your team, and even your higher ups. And a lot of people, they don't want to get into leadership roles
Mm.
because they find it, the cognitive load, they find it very, emotionally, it's very challenging. Emotionally, it is very
Mm.
heavy to build consensus among people. So how were your experiences, and how you would build consensus?
Yeah, I think first there's a misconception, because I notice many people feel like consensus building is a cost, it's a burden to do business, and
Mhm.
almost feel like it's a waste of time.
Okay.
But actually, I think consensus building is actually it's a productive process. The reason I'm saying that is, especially with large amount of people, large amount of teams working together, if we can build consensus among all the people, then the influence and impact is big.
Big. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I say it's a productive process. We have to be willing to spend effort and time to build consensus. It's not a waste of time. It's not a cost of doing business. It's not something that you hate but you have to do. It's actually we should actually think about it. It's actually a core part of your job, especially for leaders, that we need to build consensus and bring everyone along with the same vision, with the same strategy, with the same mission. And if everybody's on board, everybody working towards the same direction, wow, the the energy and excitement and the power and the influence is so great.
And I could experience this, Jeff, under your leadership when for one of the project we had to build consensus with some 30-40 managers at Microsoft to make certain change in the process. And it took us almost a month to have those conversations, but the end result was worth it.
Yeah, sometimes it will take more than a month, several months, or even years. But yeah, it was the effort. And sometimes that without consensus, actually a project cannot even move on. So from that extent, we have to do that.
We have to.
Yeah.
So then moving on to like say levels of M2 and M3 at Microsoft. So how does the role at say M2 or M3 is different from M1? And for our audience, M1 is the first level manager. M2 is the second level where other managers report to you. And M3 is again the M2s would report to you. So it's a organizational hierarchy. In any other industry, you would see this pattern. So how is that leadership of say M2 and M3 is different from say being M1?
Yeah. What I noticed is you have less and less direct influence to the people.
Okay.
Because once you become M2, M3, or even higher, you are more detached from the people who are actually doing the ground level work.
Okay.
Right. And then how can you make sure they're doing the right work? They're doing the work in the right way. They're moving in the right direction. And as a leader, then you have to hold the organization and hold your directs accountable. We have to come up with measurable ways for the task and for the project and for the organization. That's why we have things like, OKR, KPIs, and all those things, because those are measurable goals that can rally the whole team towards, and also hold the team and hold your directs accountable towards that. Because without that, it's very difficult to even know if the team is moving in the right direction.
And you had put a very good system in place with OKRs and review of OKRs and KPIs. And I could recollect all our retrospection meetings on the releases and all. And that set a very good rhythm for all of us.
Yeah, actually, I'm not sure. I'm a person who is very good at driving OKRs yet. I know some people who are very hardcore on that. Yeah, it's I think there's some practices we have to be careful about when we drive OKRs and all those things, because if we drive OKRs to some extreme, the team will feel like, oh, they're just working towards a number. So they're going to do whatever is needed
to get that
to that number, and which might not be the right approach.
Okay.
Right. Okay. And then the other thing we need to be careful about is make sure we define challenging but still reachable goals.
Okay.
Because otherwise the team feel like you're giving me an impossible task.
Okay.
Yeah, they can feel discouraged. Right. So we need to define those goals and make it challenging, right? So that people will feel like, okay, I need to come up with better ways to do things. But on the same time, it's also feasible. Yeah,
Okay.
so that people are motivated to go towards that. Of course, we need to provide the support. I don't want to be a leader who just like a slave driver for the team,
Mhm.
give them something to do, then I'm detached from the team.
Mhm.
If I push the team hard, then I want to be in the same boat with them.
With them.
I
Yeah.
want to show that I push you hard, but I'm working with you
With
together
you.
towards that goal.
Yeah, definitely, Jeff.
Yeah.
And there were areas that were very technically very complex and
Mm.
difficult projects.
Mm.
Some of the ones that we worked together,
Mm.
and I could see that you were deeply involved and you would know every
Mm.
thing that's moving there and all. So the next part about the culture at Microsoft, I'm sure it has evolved
Mm.
and it has changed
Mm.
and it has reached some. I mean, some very in a very good state or very good position.
Mm.
So just shed some lights on the
Mm.
company culture and how it was earlier in 19 when you joined in 1995
Mm.
in Windows era, and
Mm.
how it evolved in the Bing and how it evolved in Teams.
Yeah, I think that from the culture perspective, it's a bit related to the company strategy. Initially, the company strategy is around the Windows ecosystem.
Mhm.
Start from the operating system and Office apps and everything, and all the product be uh, uh, needs to be supporting this ecosystem.
Mhm.
But later, the product strategy changed and changed to we want to have our software and services to be available on all the devices the customer uses, which means that it's not necessarily being limited to the Windows system, but also any other system, whether it's iOS or Android or anything. So that's a strategy change, but with that strategy change, the culture also changed. One obvious related culture is how we deal with open source. Initially, we're kind of afraid of using open source because we are worried whether it will pollute our code base.
Mhm.
It will make the IP more messy.
Mhm.
But later, the company fully embraced open source.
Open
Like
source.
when we're working on Bing and Teams, we use so many open source packages.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's an obvious change. And the other culture part, I think many people heard in the past that many teams or divisions inside Microsoft, they will compete with each other.
Each other.
They're shooting at each other instead of helping each other.
Mhm.
I think some parts of the company are like that.
Mhm.
But when I work with other teams, I try to avoid that
Mhm.
because I think that the best strategy is to have a win-win strategy,
Mhm.
right? If my team wants to achieve something
Mhm.
and I have a dependency on the other team, I have to think harder how I can help the other team successful so that they can help my team to be
Mhm.
successful. So that's my personal principle in
Principle.
terms of how to collaborate with other teams. I believe that the Microsoft is also moving, towards that direction. And I remember there's more company level trainings
Mhm.
about the company value and the culture. The collaborative spirit is definitely one core value of the company.
Company.
Yeah.
And in fact, Jeff, I could clearly see
Mm.
that our reward system
Mm.
was reoriented to reward more collaborative behavior,
Right.
either helping others succeed or leveraging others' work.
Mm.
I could see that was part of our incentive system later on.
Yeah, that's right. I remember the reward system will measure a person's impact, but the
Mhm.
impact is measured by three perspectives. One aspect is your individual impact, um, which means the work you did directly on your own. Then the second part is the impact you had by helping others. And the third part is the impact you had by leveraging others' work. So it's three different aspects. And the combination impact is the final impact you delivered.
And that was very interesting because that created that more collaborative behavior.
Mm.
Whether I would say whether company has that policy or not,
Mm.
I think as an engineer, is that the right thing to practice?
Yeah, I think so.
The,
I think so. For example, like how to leverage others' work,
Mhm.
it's actually a smart way to approach things. Because in the past, I noticed that different teams inside Microsoft, they will keep building similar systems again and again, which is actually a real waste of resources. But if we can leverage other people's work, we just save time. So I think that should be happening anyway. And helping others, I think it's a bit harder because every one of us is busy. We're busy with our own deliverables, our own task, our own job. How can I help others?
Yeah.
Right. And the one thing I tell my team is one very concrete things you can help other is help other review their code so they can check in their PR as soon as possible.
And we used to have a lot of pressure on this one.
Yeah. And we even have OKRs to measure those things, right? How fast the PR can get reviewed and go through the pipeline and get checked in, right?
Yeah.
But that's very concrete way to help others.
Help others.
Review their code, provide your recommendations.
Very well said. Yeah. I think this was a really great conversation, Jeff. We started all the way from a undergrad or a student level. We went through your journey, and along with that, we also listened from you, your lessons and your advice from every level, from a student to M1 level manager to M2, and in general, your principles and values and leadership style. Thanks a lot for coming over to our studio and recording this podcast with us. Anything in the closing remarks, Jeff, that you would like to share?
It's really a joyful moment to come to your studio to have this chat with you, Mahesh, after several years. Great meeting with you again, and I also appreciate this time to share my learnings, my experience with the online audience here. I hope that my experience can help you in some way. And I pray that you can become more successful than you were in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.